story that's currently happening. Nigerian televangelist Timothy Omotoso is leaving South Africa for Nigeria today. The controversial church leader is at the OR Tambo International Airport. We're going to listen in now to this press briefing.
Be allowed to return to the country for a period of 5 years. The process to make sure that he is aware of that and he understands his rights. The right that he has is to then apply, at the expiry of that 5-year period, is to apply to the department to request permission to come back to the country. At that point, the department would look at the information and the motivation that he would have provided and make a decision at the time. At this point in time, we are quite, we note that he has left and he would not be allowed to return for a period of 5 years.
So do we know where he's going to?
We do know where he is going to, but the department does not usually comment on people's travel arrangements.
Is it on the continent, outside the continent?
It is on the continent.
And then, was there correspondence between yourselves and the MPA, given that the MPA would have wanted to appeal the acquittal charges?
It is best to refer the questions of the appeal to the MPA. The NPA would be best placed to respond to those questions.
Mr. Koza, can you give us a sense of how you got to know about his departure, and were there any correspondence between yourself and maybe his legal team in terms of alerting you that he's leaving the country? And of course, can you take us step by step from when you got to know about this process and where we are now, where he's about to leave South Africa?
The department manages immigration on an active basis. And we did, through that work, we were able to pick up that there was an intention for him to travel, and we were able to then do what was necessary on our part to make sure that we are able to communicate to him what the department wants him to know and what the department needs him to know.
Considering what we went through in terms of dealing with him being here in South Africa, what are the chances of allowing him back in South Africa, and looking at his court challenges as well, at the Home Affairs Department also declaring him undesirable at some point? What are the chances of coming back after the 5 years?
Well, the department declared Omotoso as a prohibited person, and he was illegal in the Republic. On his departure, he was then declared an undesirable person. The combination of both means that he's not going to be allowed to return to the country for a period of 5 years.
Have they made notice his legal representation in terms of them challenging him being declared a prohibited person in the country?
That would be a matter for the court. We don't have a record of that at the moment.
So you haven't received anything, correspondence from his legal team?
I don't have a record of us having received any such communication.
Okay, talk to us. I'm not sure if maybe your colleague here can talk to us through the security checks and the processes, not intimately, but also the process he went through upon his arrival, but also him going through the boarding process. What were the security concerns? Can you give us some insights in that process?
Stephen?
Yeah, good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity. I think we are quite happy that Omotoso has finally decided to leave the country. You will recall that we were in court last week, and the reason why we went to court in East London was really just to ask the magistrate to deport Omotoso. So him deciding that he wants to leave now was actually good news that we got to know about it yesterday. So when he arrived here this morning, obviously we had to take him through our immigration processing. And as we indicated, what we found is that he's in the possession of a valid Nigerian passport issued just about a few weeks ago. And when we processed him, we realized that there were two, he was being listed on the system for two. First is the undesirability, being here without any documents. And secondly, also in the system was listed a fraudulent permit. So these are the areas that obviously makes him illegal to be in the country. And we issued him with another form just to let him know that he shouldn't be coming back for the next 5 years. And what we intend to do now is to monitor this movement closely. It's a responsibility of both ourselves and with the airlines who would in the future want to bring him back here, that our systems will alert us that he is intending to come to South Africa and he should not be allowed. So he may not be able to come back as indicated for the next 5 years.
Mr. Stevens, given that he obtained fraudulent documents, does this mean that the investigation may continue or will happen in terms of those who enabled this fraudulent process to take place?
Well, for now, I think our focus is really just to get him out of the country, but we are not saying that this case is finalized. We also noted that he had a family in the country, so the wife might still be around. But the conversation that I had quickly with him this morning is that he should also encourage his wife to leave the country on a court. We do not want to go after her, but I think what is important also for South African public to note is that the immigration enforcement is seriously looking into this matters. Mr. Omotoso is not the only one that we have such a case, and we intend to go after each of those who are sitting in this country illegally, and we will deport them.
Is the wife also here on correct documentation, or also you're looking into her?
Well, we're still looking into her, and we are obviously going to look into that and see whether we can confirm whether status is illegal, but early indications is that she's not legal in the country, and we will definitely follow that through in the necessary processes from our side.
You agree that your system should be checked rigorously? I mean, this is not the first time it's happened. We saw it, self-proclaimed Prophet Bushiri and his wife as well, similar incident. You agree that there should be a real look into some of your systems?
We're having systems that we are using for the processing of incoming as well as for those that are going out. And it's the responsibility of our immigration officials to ensure that there is compliance to the Immigration Act and for any person to come into the country.
Sorry, Master, can I have your name and surname and then we can let you go?
My name is Stephen van Niel. I'm the head of Immigration Enforcement in Home Affairs.
Can I just make 2 points
sure.
in relation to this? Sure. South Africans would know that the department is engaged in a quite aggressive digital transformation agenda. As part of that digital transformation agenda, we are also making sure that we improve and upgrade our systems. When it comes to immigration, South Africans should rest assured that the department is committed to ensuring that we abide and we respect the immigration laws without fear or favor.
Mr. Koza, just one last question. We've got, as my colleague here did mention, that it's as if there was another religious leader who was found wanting when it comes to documents. Now we're dealing with the televangelist Omotoso. Is the department thinking of focusing on the faith-based organizations when it comes to breaking and flouting the country's immigration laws? Are you maybe picking up a trend, and is there something that you're doing to look into that?
Well, we do have a ministerial report that looked into this matter, and we have reported to Parliament on numerous occasions about the steps that we are taking to make sure that the people that have been flagged by that ministerial committee that is looking into the people who are transgressing or breaking our laws are brought into book. So everyone who has breached our immigration laws will be brought to book.
Thank you very much, of course.
Hugo, that's Mr. Siyakoza, the national spokesperson of the Department of Home Affairs, just giving us insights in terms of how we got to be where we are. What is coming out of that briefing is the fact that, well, Mr. Omotoso will not be, in South Africa for the next 5 years, but also the fact that Home Affairs does not seem to be interested, in entertaining his interest back to South Africa beyond that 5-year period. But also, we do now know that there was, a conversation between law enforcement agents, especially the Department of Home Affairs, with Mr. Omotoso this morning here at the OR Tambo International Airport in terms of double-checking his documents, but also communicating the impact and the effect and what those documents and processes are as far as his possible returns to South Africa. But also we're hearing now for the first time that even his own wife, might be in South Africa illegally, and that now the Department of Home Affairs is going to look into her own legal status here in South Africa, even though they have asked and advised Mr. Omotoso to advise his family or his wife to also depart South Africa. But should that process not happen, at the pace of the department, they will then, or they might then look specifically on her case and her status and also institute legal processes, as far as their constituents is concerned, their powers and parameters are concerned. So that's where we are right now. It is official coming from the Department of Home Affairs that Mr. Omotoso is leaving South Africa, and he will not be returning to this country at least for the next 5 years. So maybe after 2030, that's where maybe we'll get a glimpse of whether Mr. Omotoso will have any interest of coming to South Africa. But considering his reach in South Africa in terms of his religious his work, especially between KwaZulu-Natal, Gauteng province and the Eastern Cape. We saw just from the last weekend, that he has so much support. So we'll see then what becomes of those responsibilities and his supporters and church members, beyond his departure. And of course, it will also be interesting to see how much of his supporters are going to carry on with the work of the church, in the absence of the leader of the church.